We got 609, NET-609 security. So we are actually on week 12. So only 3 more weeks left for this term. Okay, I reviewed a little bit about compliance, security issues dealing with compliance. We talked a little bit about perimeter-based and how now we're going to the zero trust, never trust, always verify. Give people the least privileges that they need. Talked about traffic, north and south coming in and out of whether it's your personal cloud, your private cloud, or in and out of your network to someone, what I used to call untrusted because you just don't know, or east-west traffic within your cloud. We used the example, we have a PC that contacts Active Directory here in our little cloud, which is stored on VMs, which are stored on a host computer. Do we take full advantage of those, the power that's sitting there? Probably not. But for educational purposes, we want to have that. And then we have north-south, where we go to Canvas and get Canvas probably, I know for sure some of them, I don't know if they use AWS exclusively, but they're AWS. So the cloud leaves us this dynamic atmosphere, has to be dynamic, and then we talk a little bit about why the cloud, we talk about cost, and being able to scale up or down, being able to move things easily around on servers. There's just so many reasons. But this creates then this whole idea of being in the cloud. So we talked about some terms. We talked about compute, storage, network. And there's some more things you can do in the cloud, but primarily those are the things we talked about. Infrastructure as a service, primarily using the networking part. Platform as a service, well, then we have an OS there. We could be doing compute. Software as a service, where we have our apps. Now, I'm not sure I made my point, but when you think about personal identifiable information, the PI, or they'll call it, we talked about NIAC as an example. There's a large amount of it, of data. The CEO is responsible for that data, but we're storing data in Canvas out in the cloud. So what responsibility do they have in keeping the data secure? The bottom line is our CIO, because even though he's contracted, NIAC's contracted people to have our data and be able to allow us to manipulate it, use it, you can't hardly hold them responsible when we're supplying all these students access. So there has to be that responsibility here too at the CIO. And then there is this shared responsibility between your provider and your customers and clients coming in and so forth. So we talked a little bit about the atmosphere of moving forward in the scenario when we talked a little bit about summer, NIAC. They're not going to have a graduation. There was an email from the college president. As long as students are giving forth a decent effort, I'm going to hold them harmless based on their midterm grade, as long as they're striving to do better. We talked about group work, other usages. What we're thinking about there is other strategies, and Chris Wilson had an example today of something we could be using. We did a little bit of defining containers. We defined clusters, grid computing, we didn't spend a lot of time, but we're trying to get some terms down as we talk about security heading into the cloud environment. Here, clusters, a single unit, grid computing, more of a distributed. And then we came up with an example for COVID-19, folding at home. Stanford is doing some work where you can supply grid computing to work on bringing some possible solutions. I mentioned some more security things, data loss protection, threat maintenance, unified threat maintenance, and so forth. Okay, so we are moving from the Cisco let me see if I can actually do this. We're moving from the Cisco to other options where we'll take a little bit of a look at AWS, and Palo Alto to finish up this the whole concept around network security. And that's how we're going to finish up the last 3 weeks. Got a little bit here, chapter 11, and then we have access to some AWS stuff and some Palo Alto. That's it.